inside the Nubo. They have a little sign here, Worldwide Spin in Public Day. And they have all kinds of knitted items, some roving yarns, and spinning wheels. They even do some weaving. And they got a whole rack here full of knitting books. Noro, hand woven home, classic knits, bulk shawls. Spin with two buckets, all the different books they have, Noro collections. Look at so many awesome books, Victorian lace. Ooh. Oh, knitting circles around socks. Oh, look at crochet book. Let's have a look-see at the yarns. Odyssey. They have such a variety. For a little shop, they have a great variety. Shepherd's wool. There's a lot of that here. And it's definitely wool. Look at. Aren't these adorable? Look how tiny they are. You know I can't walk out of here empty-handed. And look at that big old chunk. That's right. Different magazines. Oh, you know, this one's gotta be my favorite. All different kinds of wool, and looks like they have little kit here. Kits. Wild hare's yarn. Those little minis. I know who would like that. Amber. They have a whole rack of this Jameson and Smith. They have little mini skeins. They're so tiny and cute. Look at it. Silky wool. Look at y'all, you know I gotta see the purple. Sueño haiku. Look at that, it's gorgeous and it's soft. So soft. Prairie Spun DK. They got discontinued yarn, some oddballs. You know, I might walk out of here with this today. Santa Cruz, Queen's Glen collection. Oh, they got the Chapelle Simply Crea. Look at that, it's so soft. Basket, and this Kathmandu. Look at that beautiful purple. Look at, I'm loving this yarn. Got little weavers, and here's a Carter. Weaving. And they sell looms. Yeah. Odyssey. High Prairie Fibers. They got these oddballs. There's only like one by Prairie Yarns, Prairie Spun, and they're all hardballs. But you know, some of them have similar colors. You can combine them. Look at, isn't that gorgeous? Not for sale, but super cute. Felting needles. And you know they gotta have the wool wash. Oh, and this what I have my eye on, y'all. This one here. Made in Michigan. Stonehenge. They have all different colors of that right here. Oh, you know what? I'm loving this color too. This is flax. Lace weight, I don't know. Queensland United. And they have this cotton fine. Got a bunch of different colors of that. They got these. All different beautiful colors, and I got myself 2 of these. Queensland Perth, Queensland United. They got some balls of the Trekking XXL. Oh, and soft, yes, soft essentials, super kid mohair silk. And I got myself one of these too because I want to learn to make socks. All different colors. Wildfoot, different brands. Bamboo Pop. And we got some Hempathy. Durable cotton hemp and modal blend. Lantern Moon. Oh, you know what? I actually and then you can see they got a wide variety of crochet hooks over here. Some little threads. Oh, shuttles. I think these are shuttles. Measure. Look at that, a spinning rabbit. Not for sale. Oh, look, little crochet puppy dog. And then you have all the knitting stuff right here. Chalku, Addie's, Knitter's Pride. Likey.
1.5. There you go.
Okay. That's what I need. Okay.
Awesome little shop. Cute little shop. I love it. Lantern Moon cases. They're pretty. I like that pattern. stitch markers. More patterns, lots of patterns here. We got the zoom loom, zoom loom.
Yeah. Sounds great. Have a great afternoon. You too.
And knitter's bling, stitch markers.
Because we all need bling. Oh, and there are some of those that are done with crocheters in mind. They're on the little latching, the earrings are there.
Yes. We can't be a yarn shop and leave out the crocheters.
If we are crochet friendly, even if we are incompetent ourselves.
They're so cute, aren't they? Loving them. Oh, they're so beautiful. I like the knitter's ones. Made with
They are
love.
made locally by a friend's daughter.
Okay. All right, now the spotlight's on you.
Hello.
Hello. Tell me all about your shop. When you started, what got you into this? I see
Well,
you're hanging up some skeins that are gorgeous.
I'm tagging them up. They just came out of the dye pot this last week, so she probably said something about the wild hairs. Those are my hand dyes. And yeah, I've been here now for a little over a year and a half in the market, and this is my second iteration at a yarn shop because we just need we need a tiny yarn shop.
Yes.
So yeah, and I like to say I'm just all about making lifelong knitters. I'm not much of a crocheter, but I try to do my best to help crocheters as well. So anyway, it's always just it's fun job to have because I never know when somebody comes in. Everyone has the potential of being a friend because we all have one thing in common.
Fiber.
Right, exactly.
And
Yes,
these
I
are
was
all
just going
ones
to-
that you dyed
These
yourself?
just came out of the dye pot this last week.
Oh, they're so beautiful.
This is a U.S. wool that I get from a supplier. It's really soft, luscious yarn, and great for hats, scarves, sweaters, baby knits. You name it, I like it.
So what's your name? Let's start off with that.
I'm Rebecca Rausch, and I'm the owner here and the dyer of Wild Hairs. And the thing with the wild hairs is I'm big into rabbits. And some of you who are watching this may have known me previously as R Rabbits Fiber Studio. So the bunny is on my card and on my sign. That's my self-portrait.
Well, let me go ahead and... So this is her stats. Do you do any sort of shipping out of state? Like if someone wanted to order online?
I don't have online ordering set up, but I am happy to talk with somebody, work with somebody. If you see something you like and are interested, yeah, I'm happy to work with you to do that.
Awesome. So, what got you into opening a shop to begin with?
Well, my best friend and I in Boulder, Colorado, back in the 80s, we had a dream of opening a tea shop and a yarn shop together.
Oh, nice.
So she still lives in Colorado, and when I came out here 20 years ago, I opened, actually it would be 21 years ago, because I got my first call back from the supplier on 9/11 and almost didn't do it. But then I thought, no, we need knitting, we need creating more than anything right now. And I think the history of the last 21 years has played that out.
So
I've met so many new knitters too now and crocheters. I've met more new crocheters than anything. So that's encouraging, and meeting younger people. I have a few customers who are in high school, and that really thrills me.
that's awesome for them to be starting out young, because especially as a crocheter, I hear comments about how crocheting and knitting, oh, my grandma does that, but they see it as something for like older people and not really younger people. So it's always for me a thrill when you see younger people getting into crochet and knitting.
I'm looking at you and I'm thinking you're a younger person too.
Well,
but it's a generational thing, and if we keep it going, we will continue to have creative outlets. We will continue to have warm woolies. We're moving into the winter, the fall and winter. It's time to pull out your woolies.
That's right. So before you started in here as a vendor, did you have a shop somewhere else?
I had a shop which I closed 5.5 years ago, and the dream to do this did not go away. As you go through life, you live and you learn, and it's good to be back.
That's awesome. So what made you want to open a shop here in Nubo?
Well, I think part of it was easier to step into a new place than going out and finding a standalone venue. And what has been a bonus and a nice surprise is the community that's here. There are so many other creators, and on weekends we have our pop-up markets. I can eat anything I want pretty much, which can be dangerous. And I have great neighbors who we support each other and we encourage one another. And being in a locale like this, I do get out-of-state shoppers. And I love it when someone comes around the corner and says yarn, and I can hear the surprise and the happiness in their voice.
I know, when I came through the door and saw it was right here, I'm like, oh yes, because I'm like, she's in a very good spot, right in the door, and I see the little yarn section. I'm like, I cannot just walk by this. I really wanted to save it for last, but then I'm like, oh, like a moth to a flame. I'm just like, okay, I'll just walk in here.
Yeah, the fiber draws you in, and I know I hear from a lot of people, and I say it myself. We all have stash long beyond life expectancy. Unfortunately, they keep making new things, and they keep coming up with beautiful new yarns. And as we learn more and more about the properties and qualities of wool, I think we're becoming more thoughtful in the yarns that we make. Like the Targhee here is the U.S. breed, and by having a single source yarn, we're able to support those farmers and support that individual breed. It's good to have that variation. That's one of the things I've just been enjoying finding out and appreciating the differences of different blends of fiber. I'm currently, I'm working on a test knit for a designer, and my dragonflies are made with one of my favorite yarns.
Oh, those are beautiful.
Which is a blend of merino, silk, and yak of all things.
Merino, silk, and yak.
It's a luscious yarn that takes dye colors so beautifully, and beautiful for doing a variety of different types. This is not the sort of thing you would put on your feet. But
okay.
It's great on a shawl, on a hat, on gloves, on a sweater, and so.
I absolutely love Malabrigo. Do you think you'll get some Malabrigo in?
I probably will not be carrying that one partly because of the size of the locale, and with doing my own hand dyes, I'm kind of keeping that a little bit more to myself because I do have a smaller inventory. Wouldn't put it out of, it is an idea. I love their yarns as well, but you have to have limits.
True.
Show them the oddballs and the Odyssey.
I did. The oddballs, the Odysseys here. So there's all these different yarns. Tell us about the Odyssey yarn.
I think this is special yarn in that it is made here in Iowa. It's not an Iowa yarn. It is a U.S. wool. And the friend who makes the yarn, she dyes the fiber and then spins it on her, she has a small spinning machine. And every skein of yarn of the different Odysseys, they have a color story dyed into them. So this is done with one skein of the Chronos, which is this colorway when you look at it in the skein.
Oh wow, that is gorgeous.
And they all come out somewhat, they're a little bit different because they are like it's a small mill, so small dye batches, but it makes beautiful yarns. This is one of her oddballs. She tells me these are completely random. I think she must have a little thought in them because they're just all too gorgeous. These are a pair of mitts I made with one of the skeins, and I wore them all around Scotland earlier this spring, and they just stand up so well. They are, and they keep your hands warm. And I have another shawl, another vest that I've made with this yarn as well. So as you can tell, I'm excited about it, and I love that I'm working with a small mill, a small maker, and it's been really exciting to see people take to her yarns, take to my hand dyed, and
well, I think it's fantastic that you're here because I don't know of very many LYSs, and I know there was one in Marion that closed a few years ago. Yeah. What was it? Village
Needlework. It had a long and interesting history.
Yes.
It's a hard market to be in, but I think it's important for people to be able to have a place where they can come and get a little bit of help, hands-on help, where they can feel the yarns and they can talk with somebody who can help them with questions about it and understand what the yarn and what the projects are doing.
So do you feel like, because we have a Michael's, we have a Joann's, we have Hobby Lobby, they're all within the same little triangular area. Do you feel like you can compete with those type of stores, or do you feel like it's just something totally different?
It's pretty much something different. The people who come here are looking for more of a more specific type of yarn and a specific type of experience. I mean, sometimes there are reasons to go to a big store, but you won't find this kind of yarn there.
Yeah, so it's kind of incomparable, really.
Right.
Well, absolutely, you got some beautiful yarns for sure. So,
Thank you.
do you like me? I'm a crocheter. Do you have some patterns you can suggest for beginning knitters?
I do. We have a couple different things we start people on, and usually a simple washcloth, and I have some kits made up with that, and we use some interesting yarns for that as well. Also, hats are a good place to go, and you can learn a lot of techniques on a hat. And a hat is one of those projects that is smaller, so if the yarn doesn't work out, or if you are struggling with it, you haven't invested a whole lot of money and time into it. But one thing we are starting this October is a sweater knit along, because I have heard from so many people that they would like to do something like a sweater. And even with that, there are ways you can get into a sweater without being overwhelmed too. But I have some great sweater designs, and I have a friend who helps me with teaching classes here, and we're always happy to see somebody's, like the aha moment, and see people where they really get into it, really take off.
And you guys, you help with left-handed knitters too, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm a lefty.
What did you tell me? It's no excuse.
Being a lefty's no excuse. I can do it. But in knitting, I don't know about crochet so much, but in knitting, your hands have different things they do, and so Yeah, we would. We want to be inclusive, and obviously, being a lefty, I know and can understand some of the struggles people are going through.
You know what I find the difference between crochet and knitting is when you're using a crochet hook, you have a dominant hand. You have that one hand that you hold it in. And in my opinion, knitting, you're using both hands, though they're doing slightly different things. They have like kind of an equal stance, so it doesn't seem like there isn't. It seems like there really isn't a dominant hand, when you're knitting, as much as when you're crocheting. And what's your opinion on that also?
I would agree with that. I crochet enough to complement my knitting. There are different techniques that are very useful. I always carry a crochet hook. They help for picking things up. But when it actually comes to making something with crochet, I leave that for people who can. And I see she's wearing this beautiful crocheted hat, and my neighbor across the way is a crocheter. But every time I pick up a crochet hook to actually use it for crochet, I look at it and I'm going, what am I supposed to do with this again? And I have to work through it. And because I knit and I weave and I spin, I have enough things to occupy my time. So it's really, it's exciting to see where crochet is coming, and that it has really moved beyond the acrylic afghans and big, bulky, itchy things. And it's really become an art form. And like the Odyssey yarns, that works up beautifully with crochet as well. So it's kind of fun seeing, it's been really fun meeting all these new people who are getting into crochet. And yeah.
So are there any yarn companies or dyers or smaller places that you'd like to work with that you haven't had a chance to work with yet?
I wish, I have started working with some overseas, and now that the dollar is stronger against the pound, that makes things a little more accessible. Like one of the yarns I'm thrilled about, and I'm placing an order to expand the color range, is the Jamieson and Smith, which comes from Shetland. And these are yarns that are used in the Shetland wool week hats.
Oh, that's a beautiful hat.
Other Fair Isle patterns, and right now it's actually finishing up Shetland wool week over there. But I do, I have done classes, like little drop-in classes for people who are wanting to learn color work, and the Fair Isle is just a lovely way to work with that. This is one I've been with for a long time, but it's a smaller company that I love, growing though. They've been around for 40 years. Prairie Spun is their newest yarn, and it's Brown Sheep Yarn Company. It's the family business. They are in their third generation. I hope I'm right on that, but they've been around for about 40 years, and I learned to knit and really develop my skills with their yarns, and I love that they are a family business. And they're small. When I call to place an order, I have a chat with the lady on the other end of the phone, and we catch up on how we're doing.
That's good that they have that personalization.
Yeah.
And establishing a good repertoire between, seller and buyers. So.
Yeah, and some of the other ones I like, they have a variety of different yarns too, but I like some of my favorite sock yarns come from Germany, and the distributor is out of Washington, and they are building their own line of yarns as well. But I like that they are thoughtful about the yarns they bring in as well, so that I have a place to find a variety of different yarns. And if anybody is looking for something and I don't have it, I always say, ask me, because that is how I've found some of my best yarns, is somebody asking. And sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes I find an alternative, but we're always happy to do what we can.
That's awesome. I watch a lot of YouTube. Obviously, I'm a small YouTube channel. But there's this one dyer in England. His company is the Poplar Yarn Company.
I don't know that one.
Oh, I love their yarn so much.
I have here, if you have a chance to go overseas, it's a great opportunity to find new yarns. And what I do I've been to Scotland several times, and I got to go to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival in 2017.
What's the name of the yarn festival?
Well, it's not going anymore, but it was the Edinburgh Yarn Festival.
Edinburgh. Okay.
And this was yarn from
That's
Old Maid
beautiful.
and Aunt. And it jumped out at me, and I said, I decided to go ahead with it, even though my usual thing at a festival is to walk through all the booths. But I came back to it, and then after traveling into the Highlands and getting home, I found the pattern that just suits it perfectly, and this is my souvenir of the first time I went to Scotland.
That is beautiful. Now
and that is a fun thing. I have people who travel from out of state, and they find souvenir
gorgeous
yarn.
and soft. So a pattern like this, I know in knitting there are some patterns that look complicated but are actually rather simple. So would something like that be beginner friendly or?
Not this lace particularly. I think it would be better to have a little more experience with lace, but there definitely are patterns out there that would be good beginning ones.
Okay.
And again, happy to help you find something that's going to suit where you're at the state where you're, or the
level
where you're at. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So, also, you mentioned that you have like classes and stuff.
Right.
So, are they free or do you charge? And what kind of
Charge
classes?
for our classes. Right now, we have a sock class going on and a tatting class, and time we call our knitting tutor. So my friend Chris, who teaches with most of the classes, she is a certified Knitting Guild of America teacher or master knitter.
Oh wow!
And so she's a kind person who is very helpful with helping with overcoming issues and just starting people off on knitting. So we do that. The classes are listed on my website, and I think our fees are pretty reasonable. We want we're in it to make knitters, not to get rich from
Right,
classes.
Right.
Which, we don't want, again, that's part of the not wanting to invest in, burden someone with the investment, but and then I also do some spinning and the Fair Isle knitting classes, and also we do like knit-alongs. We're starting a sweater knit-along to going into the winter, and we're also doing, if you look over there at the little bunnies,
yes,
the little cotton rabbits, tiny little cotton rabbits. They're a designer from England, and I just love the design on those. And we are doing a knit-along, so if on that one I have some kits I'm putting together with different yarns and then we're knitting the little bunnies together. I like having somebody to knit with because they are kind of fiddly.
Okay.
They're adorable, and they're worth every bit of fiddle that you put into them.
They are super adorable. I know when we came here yesterday, my daughter wanted one, and she was disappointed that they weren't for sale. They are just so cute.
And there are a variety of different knitted animal patterns out there. Not all of them are as complicated. But one thing about Julie Williams is the designer of the little cotton rabbits, and she has great directions with lots of pictures, and it's a fun one to knit together. So if anyone wants to come join us, we're doing it online as well.
That's
and
awesome.
It's just there's so much going on in the knitting world. It's just it's good to have people to knit with, and right now we have a group knitting in the open area of the market, and knitters inspire each other and help each other sometimes, and that is one of the great things I think about the community of crafters. We're not as competitive as we are supportive.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I find that just the Yarny community in general, whether you're a knitter or a crocheter, is really quite inclusive. So, you know, we just, it's just so inspiring, and everyone is like really supportive. And sure, everybody has their own way of, you know, holding needles and a hook, and you'll always have that person that says, no, you're doing it the wrong way. But
you're not perfect.
It's about what works for you, you know.
Right.
So do you sell any knitted items? Are these over here for sale or just display?
Are samples, and some of them.
Beads.
That was a shawl I did years ago, going through some medical issues. The little boy sweater was worn by my son, and now is being worn by my grandson.
Wow.
So there are samples, but we do have some things for sale. And as we move into the holiday season, there'll be more items for sale.
Now, when you sell your items, do you have other people come in and like consign their items as well, or?
I've done a little bit of that in the past. We're still working out the details on how I do things, because 18 months ran by very quickly. It has been an exciting and kind of learning and growing time here.
That's awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your little shop with us.
Welcome.
And you really do have some beautiful and amazing yarns. And I'm
you,
sure
Trish.
so many of my subscribers, whether they're local or, you know, living somewhere else, are really going to enjoy watching this video and, you know, really appreciate your efforts and everything that you've done here. So
one last thing I might say, if there are any subscribers who are interested in getting into the business side of knitting and crocheting, look around for ways to do it, because there are opportunities, and life's short, and if you really want to do it, you should follow your dream.
absolutely, I agree.